The history of the 1927 Alvis Grand Prix car is inextricably linked to the dynamic development of the British automotive industry. After World War I, TG, John Limited, founded in Coventry, initially produced industrial engines, carburetors, and scooters. However, the company's ambitions quickly expanded. In 1921, the first automobiles were presented, and the company's name was changed to Alvis Car and Engineering Company. From the outset, Alvis cars were distinguished by their robust construction, high-quality workmanship, and performance that surpassed the competition. These qualities led to the brand's almost immediate presence on rally circuits and racetracks, treating sport as a natural laboratory for technical development. Alvis's early motorsport successes took place primarily in Great Britain, encompassing both circuit racing and demanding long-distance rallies. These competitions revealed the company's engineering potential and willingness to explore unconventional solutions. One of these was front-wheel drive, which in the 1920s was considered an innovative and risky concept. However, Alvis saw it as an opportunity to reduce drivetrain weight and improve traction. In 1925, the company built a small voiturette-class racing car with a duralumin chassis and body, powered by a 1.5-liter engine. Simultaneously, a lightweight roadster for hill climbs was developed, proving the validity of this approach. The experience gained with the voiturettes resulted in a larger production road model with front-wheel drive, capable of exceeding 100 mm. Although this car failed to find buyers, the project was not considered a failure. On the contrary, it reinforced the belief of Alvis management that the company was ready for the next step, entering the world of the most prestigious Grand Prix racing. This decision meant facing the European elite, including Bugatti and Delage, and the need to create a machine capable of competing at the highest level. For a relatively small manufacturer, this was a formidable challenge, but one that was in keeping with its ambitious DNA. The first attempt by an Alvis to compete in a Grand Prix took place in the summer of 1926 at the British Grand Prix at Brooklands. A front-wheel drive car was entered, but technical problems prevented it from competing in the race itself. This failure did not discourage the design team, who immediately began modernizing the project. For the 1927 season, a completely new version of the Grand Prix car was prepared. Unlike the earlier voiturette designs, both new cars featured steel chassis and steel bodies, which were intended to increase stiffness and reliability at very high speeds. The 1927 Alvis Grand Prix cars were technologically remarkably advanced for their time. Power came from a front-mounted 1.5-liter inline 8 engine, supercharged by a Roots supercharger, in compliance with regulations at the time that limited the capacity of supercharged engines. The power unit was mated to a manual gearbox mounted in front of the engine, resulting in an unusual layout. It featured a very long nose, a centrally positioned driving position, and an aerodynamically extended rear end designed to minimize drag. The version prepared for the 1927 season differed significantly from the previous prototype. It featured a new cylinder head with double overhead camshafts and a front suspension unusually complex for the 1920s. Independent front suspension, based on 4 elliptical leaf springs, was used to improve handling and traction. This was a unique solution in an era when rigid axles dominated. The entire design represented a bold combination of innovation and risk, and its potential top speed exceeded 200 km/h, making the Alvis one of the fastest Grand Prix cars of its time. For the 1927 British Grand Prix, in October, 2 Alvis cars were prepared to compete against the leading designs in Europe. Unfortunately, history repeated itself. Both cars suffered breakdowns during practice, which could not be repaired before the start of the race. 2 weeks later, the cars were entered for the prestigious 200-mile race at Brooklands. There, the Alvises demonstrated impressive pace, qualifying in the top 2 positions on the grid. However, in the race itself, reliability again failed, and both cars were eliminated from the competition due to technical problems. A series of setbacks, combined with limited funding, sealed the fate of the Grand Prix program. The cars never competed again. They were dismantled to analyze structural weaknesses, and then, in the early 1930s, both examples were scrapped to free up space at the factory. While this decision seems dramatic today, the experience gained was not wasted. It was used to develop a new, sporty Alvis road model, launched in 1928 and achieving much greater commercial success. New Alvis models were offered with four-cylinder engines, both naturally aspirated and supercharged, in a variety of body styles. In 1929, the range was expanded to include a larger model with an eight-cylinder engine, clearly inspired by Grand Prix designs. These cars competed successfully in endurance races, including the 24 Hours of Le Mans, where they won their class. After 1931, Alvis returned to classic rear-wheel drive, and passenger car production finally ceased in 1967. Of the two Alvis Grand Prix cars, only one survives. Slated for scrap, the example was sold to a private owner in the 1930s. Attempts were made to modernize it, even planning to relocate the drivetrain behind the driver's back, but this never materialized. After decades of neglect, the car was partially rebuilt, and in 2003 it was again running under its own power for the first time in over 75 years. It was then transferred to the Alvis Car Company, where a painstaking restoration was undertaken. In 2023, the restored chassis was unveiled, and the car's planned return to Brooklands in 2027 will mark the centenary of its racing debut.